The Byers Branch of the Denver Public Library has a new namesake. It now honors a leader in Denver's Native community instead. Marissa Armas joining us live there tonight. And Marissa, this has been a very long process.
Yeah, this name change comes after months of conversation, and earlier this week, the library renaming committee decided to name it after John M. Hula Jr., a war hero and an activist.
I'm delighted. I'm just so happy that this name will bear the name of somebody whom I respected.
The Byers Branch Library is no more. It'll soon be donning signs saying Thunderbird Man Branch after John M. Hula Jr., something that Ed Sandoval has been waiting a long time for.
I think it's going to be important to our community to have this library named after somebody who's done a lot of good in their lives, rather than somebody who is a racist.
The conversation to rename the library really grew traction last year after the nation's call for social justice. A library spokesperson said that's when they started doing their own research on the names of their buildings, and they found out the history of William N. Byers.
So during that process, we learned that William N. Byers contributed and supported the Sand Creek Massacre.
A library spokesperson says Byers' history doesn't align with their values, which is why they wanted to find someone else to represent the branch. And that's where M. Hula Jr. comes in, who happens to be a descendant of survivors of the Sand Creek Massacre. He was also a Korean War vet.
Thunderbird Man was a name gifted to him by his family after his death.
And Ed says it's a small racial reckoning for the Native American community.
We want to make sure that the icons that we have in our community and elsewhere are people who deserve to be put up on a pedestal.
And John M. Hula Jr. did die earlier this year. A spokesperson with the library tells me that they do plan to have a big celebration on November 13th. She tells me that it's going to take a couple months to get those signs changed. In Denver, Marissa Armas covering Colorado First.
Thank you, Marissa.